everyone, this is Commander Trium talking to you once again from the Elite Universe. It is the 14th of February, 3304, and that makes it Valentine's Day, of course. And now we're going to finish off some missions, hopefully bringing our rep in this solar system. GMT, okay. We have a power play cycle warning coming up.
Unsuccessful.
And we have failed to reach our wingman. We must examine Polevnik. Just 3 jumps away. And there we can pick up some dissidents. Let's see here, and Ross 311. Why they want that world, I don't know. However, we'll jump there first.
Lifting off.
Target is obscured.
Frameshift drive charging. 4, 3, 2, 1. Frameshift drive charging.
And now,
Frameshift drive charging. Frameshift drive charging. Ready to engage.
Nope.
Frameshift drive charging.
Romeo, India. This is an independent star system commander. Request docking permission prior to touching down.
Flight assist off. Scan detected.
Attention. Reduce speed to 100.
landing gear deployed.
Landing successful. Command system shut down. Report to station services for more information, Commander.
Incoming mission critical message. Incoming mission critical message.
The grid eye. The grid eye. Ah! Not 24 tourists. Oh my god! The grid eye! The Angola. It's a criminal! Scarlet Marquez. Another criminal. Captain Grideye. Ah! Pull that neck. Gurukuyi. Men Ures. And NLTT 639. Ha ha! Do 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 do. Oh my God! It's the Randy. Oh, we have utopian dissidents we can throw away. From the Nari. Explosive. It's Bombalite. Ooh.
maximum capacity.
To welcome all pilots to this starport. Be sure to check station services for any updates and enjoy.
Incoming mission critical message.
Tango, Romeo, India, you must submit a docking request before landing at this port.
Flight assist on.
Request approved. Clear to land at docking bay 3-5. Automated docking initiated.
Scan detected. Landing gear deployed.
Services at this starport.
Docking complete. Grind crew dispatched. Station services are at your disposal.
Every time you pass through the system. Access to docking bay facilities requires flight control authorization. Please submit a request before entering the docking bay. This is a flight regulations reminder. Please do not obstruct the access corridor during arrival or departure. Thank you and enjoy your stay. This is a flight regulation announcement. Please proceed to land on your assigned docking gear in a timely manner and refrain from obstructing other areas. We would like to extend a warm welcome to all visitors. Please ensure you complete docking procedures within the allocated time. In the interest of improving traffic flow within the docking bay, we request that pilots avoid blocking access to docking pads. This is a flight regulations reminder. Please do not obstruct the access corridor during arrival or departure. Thank you, and enjoy your stay. Check the wide array of services we offer, and we hope you enjoy your stay.
Detachment complete. Maintain correct lane on exit.
Frameshift drive charging.
Clear of station perimeter. Have a safe journey.
Frameshift drive charging. mission critical message.
Lithium arsenal.
Observe docking reservation protocols. Request approved. Clear to land on pad 08. Automated docking assist is now in progress.
Landing gear deployed.
Landing pad is a crime. Infractions will be dealt with using lethal force. safety of all visitors, you are to pass through access controls before disembarking. A warning to surface recon vehicle operators. Do not obstruct thoroughfares within the port perimeter. Blockages will be removed in due course. Blocking access to landing pads is a crime. Infractions will be dealt with using lethal force. The Federation welcomes all arrivals. Ensure you follow docking clearance protocol and have a good stay.
Ship detach complete. Climb to exit altitude.
Landing gear retracted. Freight
required before docking procedures can begin, Commander.
Flight assist on.
Permission granted. Set course for landing pad 37. You're approved for automated docking sequence. Maintain current vector, Commander.
Landing gear deployed.
The pilots, please show consideration for fellow visitors. Slow down and maintain a reasonable distance from other ships inside this dock.
Touchdown. Clear to disembark. Enjoy your stay at our facility, Commander.
This facility offers a range of services.
Incoming
Check your
message.
information panel after docking for more details. Access to docking facilities requires flight control authorization. Please submit requests before entering the docking bay.
Incoming mission critical message.
Services at the starport are constantly being updated. Remember to visit every time you pass through the system.
This is a flight regulation announcement. Please proceed to dock on your assigned docking pad in a timely manner, and refrain from obstructing other docking areas. We advise that all commanders be aware of their speed while in and around the starport. Thank you for your cooperation. Services at the starport are constantly being updated. Remember to visit every time you pass through the system. the safety of all visitors, be considerate of other vessels while passing through the main access corridor.
That's certainly strange. He definitely logged in, definitely moved his ship, and he definitely did not page me. Hello?
Hola, señor. ¿Cómo estás?
So, why didn't you page me back after I paged you?
Because I'm only on for like 5 minutes. I'm just literally going to this station, and then I'm going to help my wife get the kids ready to go to her mother's, and then I'll be back on, and then I was going to page you back.
I felt all lonely and stuff.
Oh man. Literally, I'm just going to Rozdevinsky Horizons, and then I'll be running upstairs to help.
Oh, okay.
As you might have just heard, me being summoned.
This is a flight regulation.
Yeah, so you're going now, in other words.
Do not obstruct.
No, well, I'll be gone like 10 minutes. I'm just helping get kids ready to leave. I'm not leaving.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. So you're staying put, and she's gonna go.
Yeah. And then it'll be just me here, and I'll just be like, yeah.
So you got rid of the woman for a while.
I said 1 minute. I told you right when you first asked, 2 minutes. Oh, that's why what I was attempting to do was failing miserably. I was pressing, oh, I guess I should request docking as well.
Well,
I was pressing straight.
Crash into the space station again. You seem to like doing that. Oh,
yeah, well, I almost did it.
It's time to crash into the space station again. Smash.
Well, see what I was... this time it wouldn't have been so bad because instead of pressing strafe upwards, I was pressing strafe downwards, and I don't move very fast in strafing direction, so I probably wouldn't have got hurt.
Well, that sucks. It's been Olympics all week long, so there's nothing on television. This is supposed to be the big TV night.
Well, what you do is you go and watch shit on Netflix instead, I don't know.
Like you're watching Spartacus for like the 60th time. You must be excited though, because Disney's putting on Star Wars Rebels again next week.
I never got into the animated one.
Oh my god, it's actually pretty good.
That's what everyone's told me, and I'm like, I should give it another chance and actually watch it, but yeah,
The only thing I don't like is that the hero of the story, the young Jedi, he looks like a bit of a gimp, you know, like, I don't know, he looked like a proper child at first, like, the cartoonist who draws him did a good job of him as a kid. And now that he's like in his early 20s, it's just like he looks like a freaking, I don't know. Well, no, he doesn't look like a 20-year-old. He looks like a Ken doll or something. Like,
oh my!
He doesn't really look like, you know.
He doesn't look human.
He doesn't look human anymore. Now he looks like a mannequin. So.
All right, I'll be back. Sorry.
Okay. He does look like a mannequin, though. Alright.
Access to docking facilities. Flight control authorization. Please submit requests before entering the docking bay.
The Scottish accent of the announcer. Oh no, Olympic Justice Party is trying to give me 51,000 credits. I killed someone I was supposed to kill. Okay, and what do I get here? Starports.
Services at the starports are constantly being
I
updated.
get
Remember
contact.
to visit every time you pass through the system.
I get a bond. Interstellar flactors. Ooh. Ooh. Mary Fortune Industries. It's time for Merry Christmas.
We will be forced to respond to aggressive actions. For peace of mind, please don't ship weapons while inside the docking bay.
You know,
in the interest of smooth traffic flow within the docking bay, we request the pilots avoid blocking access to docking pads.
We can donate some money. Except I don't want to. Assassinate the pirate lord of Vanguard Wreck. Ah! He's incompetent.
See, not too long.
That's good. How come you have a rank competent? I think you should have a rank incompetent.
For what?
For like, yeah. For like,
I'm not competent in anything.
I know, you should have like a player rank, a rating,
Yeah.
Incompetent to go with competent.
So, like, a negative scale system as well?
Yeah. So
if you're really bad, it tells everyone how bad you are?
Yeah. Like fucking crazy, incompetent, dumbass. Complete retard, yeah. Something politically incorrect. Well, just speaking of which, did you...
Oh my god. 1 sec.
Oh my god. Oh my god! Here's your big chance. No, I don't really want to. I don't want to do that. Corpse. That's a good one.
Please show consideration for fellow visitors. Slow down and maintain a reasonable distance from other ships inside this dock.
No, God.
She had to call me to tell me my car was acting funny. She was like trying to explain it, and then I was like, yeah, and it's hopping a bit. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It started yesterday. It runs fine still. It just probably needs a new battery. I hope it's not a new alternator. I hope it's just a battery issue.
Okay. She's treating this like this game, like it's just, you know, a game. Like that there's your wife. Like that there's no person, there's no people involved, right? Like it's just a CPU, and that you're addicted to it. It doesn't occur to her that there's like actually people like on the other end of this.
Kinda sometimes. And I just brush her off.
Well, it's just. I mean, I'm not complaining or anything. I'm just pointing out that like it just seems like I don't think she's aware of it or something. Like she's the way she talks to you about it. It's like okay, it's just like a CPU and you, and and the computer's feelings aren't going to be hurt if you like tell it to fuck off or just put it aside all of a sudden. She's like expecting you to literally drop everything and just do whatever, and it's like, okay, but there are people involved here. And if there were, if there were actual people, if you were on the phone with someone talking to them, I doubt very much she would just say, okay, like, stop.
Get over here.
Get over here and stop talking to that other imbecile on the other end of the phone right now.
Oh, power play cycle imminent. Oh yeah, it's Wednesday today, isn't it?
Yeah. So, and I never even noticed about that message. Well, actually, I got like a whole bunch of cred bought. So like I spent 100,000 twice, and now I'm up to like 80 merit points. I don't know if I'm going to make it before the end of the night, up to 100, but I'm just like finding some world to dump it all into.
Hour.
Yeah, I know. I'm just finding some world to dump it all into, and then I'm just gonna like turn around and go back to the control sphere. But actually, I have to like go back to Polevnik again because I've got dissidents. I've been taking dissidents.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been abducting people like left, right, and center, and just like just dumping them off. Too bad.
Let's see.
I mean, abducting them off the streets of Landisk, which is now like, you know, I don't think there's any dissidents left. I think I took them all. They're all gone.
I still had 135 merit points carryover from last week. I've earned 0 this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they can reset to 0 again. Like once you hit, like if I hit 100 and go to 100,
and then next week you'll be at 0.
I'll be at 0.
Tomorrow
yeah.
you'll be at 0.
Right. So if I get 100, but if I get 110, it's still 0. Like I don't get to carry.
No, you'll have 10. You'll have 10 left over.
Oh, I will have 10. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't completely erase it. It carries over.
Okay.
That's why I have 135. I have 135 total merits, so then tomorrow I'll have 35.
I see, okay. Well, that's good.
See, but it gets easier as you go up because you get 10 power commodity allocated every half hour, and then at rank 2, you get 15 every half hour.
Yeah, I'm getting 10 right now, so I can like wander back and I can collect another 10 anytime now.
Yeah, I might go to my one spot and just do back and forth.
Except I only got 8 last time because I ran out of cargo space, so I don't know now if I can buy, like, if I bought 2, would the clock start then, or does the clock start on the 8 that I bought, and will it restart the clock on the other 2 separately?
I don't know.
So will I have 2 clocks?
I don't know. I just spend the money and just like buy 100 merits worth of shit at once and deliver it.
I know, so I don't know if I'm gonna have to wait like an extra half hour now because I didn't buy a complete group of 10. I bought 8. So it would suck.
You idiot.
Yeah, I know. You idiots.
You idiot, God.
So it may suck. I may like get 2 and then like spend them and then whatever.
Have to wait another half hour.
Well, yeah, exactly. Then we'll have to wait like 30 more minutes and go, oh, for fuck's sakes, and just wait until the next group of 10 like appear. But I don't think it does it like that. I'm hoping it's smart enough to like it doesn't take up that much memory to have a clock. It takes up like 4 bytes to like have a clock. A minimum of 4 bytes. It could take 6 if they want to track seconds. So I mean, we're not talking gigantic amounts of memory, and that's uncompressed data, right? It's like 4 bytes of uncompressed data.
So wait, you do software development, so you do like coding and shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So would you be able to identify something just by code? What it would do?
Well, just by looking at code?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Like, if I said, if a file was saved as a VBS file, and inside the document was text that said, at echo off, then line down, DEL space, percent system drive, percent star dot star.
Well, first of all,
it's
not a VBS file. That's a that would be VBS is for VB script normally. So what you've got there is a .bat, B-A-T.
Okay, this
someone has mislabeled the file, but anyway.
Okay, and then yeah, so it's /f/s/q, and then another space down, then shutdown -r-f-t.
Yeah.
00.
Yeah.
What would that cause?
Okay, so the last statement shuts the computer down and turns it off. So before that, the percent echo off means it turns off the shell echo. So when the MS-DOS window appears, it's not gonna repeat the command results. It's just gonna be blank.
This is a flight regulation.
So will the screen be blue?
Or blue, or whatever the background is set to on your system. And then
okay, go ahead.
And then what was the next line?
Well, the first one was at echo off, and then it was next line was DEL
delete
space percent system drive space
whatever the system drive is on the system.
Star period star.
Delete everything.
Space /f.
Yeah.
Space /s. Space /q.
Okay, well /f means enforce, no prompting, and I think Q means continue. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But anyway, basically that's just going to delete absolutely everything, no exceptions, all of the time on the system drive.
So that could lead it to a blue screen of death.
Well, it would lead it so that there's no operating system, no files on the system whatsoever, including those system files, and which is what the /s is for, I think. And Q. Yeah, I'm not sure what the /q is for. It's not good though. Basically, it's gonna delete absolutely everything, including everything except the boot sector. So it will boot. It will try to boot. It won't find an operating system or a startup.bat, and it will go. I don't know what to do. And it will sit there, and it might display an exception screen, or the blue screen of death is another possibility. But the blue screen of death is, people don't really know what the real blue screen of death is. There hasn't been a real blue screen of death like there used to be in Windows 95 since Windows XP. So there's no such thing as a blue screen of death anymore. IBM doesn't really...
Is it basically people are referring to a physical memory dump as a blue screen of death now?
No, well, they're referring to a BIOS message, probably. If your screen happens to be blue, it could be black, it could be purple, it could be green, but usually it's just black and white. And
whenever I do a physical memory dump, well, when I used to, when I accidentally was mixing RAM, because I was an idiot, well, it would cause a physical memory dump, because I think I was running like 2 4s and 2 16s.
No, you can't do that. You can run different clock speeds, but you can't run like different sizes of RAM in the system normally.
Well, that's why I kept getting physical memory dumps like every 5 minutes. And then I finally figured it out. I'm like, wait, this isn't supposed to be done.
It has no idea how to address that. It would go like, okay, you've got, you've got like an 8 meg memory chip in here, so I'll just address this as blah blah blah, and it's okay, there's no address like that, so of course it will memory dump, it will go core exception, and it will...
But it was it was funny because Windows still detected me having like whatever.
Yeah,
So,
it'll detect you having memory of some kind, but it's not gonna address it properly.
Yeah, but it calculated the right total amount, which was just funny that it was like, this isn't supposed to be done, but you're still calculating it right.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the type of memory, I guess. But anyway, yeah, it'll blow up.
Yeah,
anyway, so what was the statement after the Dell statement? There was one more.
Yeah, you covered that one first, I thought.
Oh, the shutdown statement.
Shutdown, yeah. Yeah, it was shutdown.
Yeah, so why were you asking me this?
Oh, I was just curious if you were able to do this, because like I came across this like app that tells you about simple coded viruses you can make.
Well, that's not a virus.
I put viruses in quotations.
Yeah,
you couldn't see me do the bunny ears.
Yeah,
but
that's not a virus. That's just
like this one is in format C, D, and E drives.
No. In fact, the fact that you didn't format it is irrelevant. It would still, like, the drive is still properly formatted, but you deleted all the files off of it.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what it does.
So it means you don't have to format it, but who cares? No, there's nothing on it anymore, except you can recover. You could theoretically recover all of the files that you just deleted.
And what does @echo_off do again?
Oh, it turns off the messaging inside the shell window where the script is running. So basically, what you have there is a DOS script. So presumably, either you are going to put this file into the, well, there's several different places you can put it. You can put it inside the whatchamacallit, the task scheduler. The task scheduler is one place you could put it. Another place you could put it would be under an icon in Windows.
Yeah.
Another place you could put it would be on boot, so in the startup, in the startup folder. It would try to execute it. You could also set.
Would that be as a bat file then?
Well, yeah, you have to put .bat because the file associations in Windows are such that you would have to. Well, no, it doesn't have to be a bat file. You can actually run a command called cmd.exe.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't matter what the hell you called it. You can put any file name after that, and it will try to run it as a script first. But at least I think that's true. But anyway, regardless of whether or not it's true, you can probably get it to run as a script, as a DOS script, regardless. But the file association mechanism in Windows is designed to read the three-letter extension at the end of the file name. Now, although functionally speaking, it doesn't matter what you call your file, including the three-letter extension. It doesn't affect functionality, but it does affect the Windows default, the default file association mechanism. So the best thing to do is to name it properly. So
and not try to trick it, basically.
And not try to trick it, because otherwise you have to do some extra step to get around the fact that you're tricking it. But
that's only if you're trying to be malicious and hide it somewhere, basically, then.
Well, a VBS also is a VB script file. I mean, you're not really hiding it in this case, because the .vbs is a VB script file, right? So, I mean, you could do this, you could achieve these exact same ends using VB script that you're doing as a DOS script. So, regardless of what the scripting, you could also write it as a PowerShell script, in which case it would be .ps1. And in any of these cases, regardless of whether you're using PowerShell, VBScript, or MS-DOS, scripts are scripts, and you can run them as such, and you can always run them from Windows. So why the hell would you, like, if you're trying to hide a script file, why would you name it as some other format of script? It would just tell the person that, oh, it's another script.
Yeah.
And they open it up and they find out, well, gee, you know, this is not a script I recognize, but it's DOS, which is even more common than VB script. It's probably the single most common script now. PowerShell being number 2, and PowerShell is catching up to DOS very quickly. So yeah, PowerShell is like the next version of DOS, so it will likely overtake DOS in the next few years. And
so if anyone was going to go learn shit on DOS, they should just move to PowerShell right now.
Well, you can achieve more in PowerShell will run, like, it will run .NET objects, so you can actually call .NET libraries. First of all, you can load them into memory using PowerShell, and you can execute them right off the command line. You can access method calls and functions within a .dll directly from PowerShell if they're written as .NET DLLs. If they're not, if they're just C++ DLLs, well then you're SOL. But if they're .NET, then you can access them directly from PowerShell, and you don't even have to have like an application running. You can just crack open the DLL and do whatever you want with it. You know, you can run even parts of the DLL without actually loading dependencies, like other DLLs or other functions necessarily into memory that the DLL needs. So, although it won't work, but anyway, you theoretically can try to access these functions.
Or around the starport is not permitted.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, PowerShell is a hell of a lot more powerful than DOS. So DOS, you can't do any of that stuff. It's just there to give you some basic command sets like delete a file or list the files in a folder, or like execute a binary, or you know, like a .exe file. Or some of this.
I remember when games used to be run through DOS. I forget what it was.
That's because because all of them, every binary at one point, first of all, Windows used to, like, there was a day when Windows didn't exist, before Windows 3.1. There was virtual...
I remember. What were those computers that had, like, the yellow and black screens?
The yellow and black screen?
Well, like an orange and black, not like a black and white, it was like an orange and black.
Well, it was kind of Windows 3.1 was kind of like that. I mean, it was big and blocky, and I remember the Apple was like way better back in those days. It was like just leagues better than Windows. But anyway, Windows back in those days, I mean, Windows.exe itself was a binary, right? And it could run other binaries, but then again, so could DOS. So Windows was like a glorified UI for DOS back in those days. And that's Windows legacy, right? It started off being a glorified UI for DOS, and then they started adding things like the registry and other crap. And they poured it all over Windows, and it became big and clunky, and then they refined it some more, and it went into Windows NT, which is new technology, is what NT stood, I believe at one point stood for. And then it became Windows NT 3.5.1 shortly after Windows 3.1, and then you had NT Windows 3.5.1 to kick off the client-server age, where you had Windows 95 clients, and Windows 3.1 clients, and 3.1.1 clients, which was Windows for networking, talking to Windows NT 3.5. And then you had, after that, you had Windows XP, and then which itself could operate as a version of Windows 3, which could also run against Windows NT, but very, very shortly after that, you had Windows 2000, which was designed to operate as either a server or a client. And then they broke them up. Then by 2000 and 2002, let's see here, there was a flavor of Windows Server. Windows Server 2003, I think, and then it went to Windows Server 2007. No, Windows Server 2008. And then you had Windows Server 2012, and now you have Windows Server 2016. And that's the last of it. Now it's Windows 10. And there's not going to be any more Windows 10.
I don't even have Windows 10.
Yeah, there's Windows 10, and Windows 10 is the last. So Windows 2016 is the last server product, and Windows 10 is the last client product. There's not going to be any more client-server crap. They're just going to keep bundling and re-upgrading Windows 10. And that's it. There's no more, there's not going to be a Windows 11 or Windows 12 or Windows whatever. Oh, and you also had Windows 8.
I had Windows 10
you had Windows,
on my laptop.
you had Windows 7, 8, and 10, which I consider sort of all different parts of the same thing. Windows 7 was like a stepping stone.
Yeah,
between
I have
Vista
7.
Windows 7 was a stepping stone between Vista and 8. But basically, the technologies, have undergone their final refinement by the time you get to Windows 8. And Windows 10 is basically completely networked, and it's now going to be, it's a platform unto itself, which will always upgrade from MicrosoftUpdate.com, and it won't ever be, there'll be no successor technology after that. Not as such. So that's the end of Windows, and the next Windows products you will see will either be neural, so you'll have neural interfaces introduced. You'll have those will be within the next 5 years. Keyboards voice activation is already here. You now have Cortana. Its voice recognition is pretty solid.
I never set up the voice recognition on Cortana.
Yeah, it's now localized, so now in whatever country you're in, it speaks like over 60 different languages.
Oh wow.
Successfully, and it does it as well or better in some cases than Google.
So Microsoft's trying to make a comeback. They got threatened by Google for a bit, and they were getting lazy, and now Google's starting them up.
No, they weren't lazy. I mean, I've worked for Microsoft.
They weren't pushing themselves.
I've worked
originally did.
I've worked for Microsoft twice in my career, and there's neither time could I describe my experiences as encountering a single scintilla of laziness anywhere. The company pushes its employees incredibly hard. It's a very difficult company to work for. Probably the single most difficult software company in the world to work for.
When I say lazy, I don't mean like they don't work hard. I'm saying lazy as in they're not coming up with as innovative ideas as they were. They're building on what they had and weren't really pushing their boundaries.
Well, they
were kind of refining what they had.
This idea that they don't innovate is kind of funny too. Like they're in the lead as far as Office products go. They have out-innovated everyone on that score. And in terms of .NET...
Yes, and then Google has started to make a push on that one too.
Yeah, they pushed, and they're going, and are they on every desktop? Is everyone using Google Cloud? Especially on the cloud front, Microsoft is leading the charge into the cloud, because not only were they the first to come to market with a coherent cloud product, Azure, they were the first to offer the wide range of services in the cloud and market it as a single product.
I can tell you,
no one else is doing that. What's that?
At work we used Google Sheets.
Yeah, fine.
I worked at
I've used
Rogers.
Google Sheets and I've used Excel, but I've worked in God knows how many offices, and I've yet to use Google Sheets in any office environment once.
For the
I've
safety of
used
all
Excel
visitors,
hundreds of times.
You know why? Because all these companies probably have like lifetime subscriptions, and they're like, we can't waste our money on these lifetime subscriptions to Excel. We need to be using this shit.
Let's see. For some people, especially in, I mean, depending on what type of licensing you have, the one thing Microsoft doesn't make money on is selling its software. It makes its money on support agreements. So when something goes fucking haywire, who do you want on the other end of the phone? Do you want Google or do you want Microsoft? And we're talking about you need your business to run like all the time, because if you're not working, your competitors are. And you know that they have the ability to never have anything go wrong. So if you want nothing to ever be wrong, you go with Microsoft, because Microsoft support is actually, you know, people bitch and complain about it, but these people obviously haven't tried getting Google on the other end of the phone. It's impossible. Like, you can't.
I'll just go down to their Waterloo station and knock on their door.
Unless you have your own IT department, and many companies don't. You're not.
Really? That's surprising.
Well, it is surprising, but it's true. But most companies, I'm not kidding. I think it is surprising in this day and age that most companies don't have IT people.
I wasn't being sarcastic about that. Like that, it's truly surprising.
Yeah. But a lot of people just rely on these support agreements. They find it cheaper to pay Microsoft a couple grand every year instead of paying someone, you know, $50,000 to $80,000 a year to help them with their technical problems. And maybe that makes sense, you know. Maybe
IT needs to change altogether, and IT people need to open like IT businesses where they sell their services to different companies.
That was a Canadian company, Red Hat, used to do that with Linux, right? So we had Linux.
Yeah, I remember Linux.
We had Linux, and we had Office products for Linux, and Red Hat was always on the other end of the phone. They were ready to help you. And they did really well for many years until they got bought out, and now they're gone. Where's Red Hat? Dead, as far as I know. I'm sure it's out there somewhere, but I mean, it doesn't have
capacity.
It doesn't have the market presence it once commanded, and it doesn't because it's not a consumer product anymore. It's gone the way of other Unix products and been bought as a server tech. So, and it's been marshaled into something else. And as for
it's an open market for it right now.
And as for the rest, yeah, probably, but there are other companies that will support Linux as third parties. They just aren't very well known. This is the problem. Microsoft marketing has been. Microsoft doesn't have to market itself because it was there first, right?
Exactly.
So everyone knows Microsoft.
It's like tradition almost.
It basically is. It's like a cultural thing, right? And so now you don't have to. If you want a vendor for IT, you think, well, let's see. I'm going to go with Microsoft. Why? They don't know anyone else. There are definitely. Yeah, there are definitely other companies, many of which, by the way, aren't very well managed, and are filled with people that don't really have a clue what they're doing, in my opinion. But the people that do know what they're doing, I mean, I myself, if I look at myself as a technical resource who knows what he's doing, I do, but I don't know very much about marketing. I know something about writing technical documents, but I don't have the skills to, make customers have the warm, fuzzy feeling that they love to have.
I can be that. That's my part of it.
Well, if I could pay someone to do that and run my company as a support agency, I would be more than happy to do so. Nothing turns me on more than helping other people with their technical problems. And there's a lot of good companies out there that where the big money is right now in third-party support for small business. is not in software support, it's in networking.
Procedures.
Networking.
It's in hardware. Network analysts, they can find work in smaller companies like crazy, but a software developer, you can go work for a smaller company, but you're probably writing software as a service, or you're writing software for some, industry somewhere, or you're writing software for the government. You're working as an IT person, but not in a support capacity. That's starting to happen. I'm seeing signs in the job market where there are some new hires, where yes, you can have some companies that are starting to gain some notoriety as software support agencies, other than Microsoft, because they're local and, everyone wants the local guy who knows what he's doing and gives you that warm fuzzy feeling. I could do that.
I can come to your house and do it for you.
Yeah, I can come to your house or your place of business, and I can support your. I mean, it's kind of like Geek Squad at Best Buy, right? You buy.
That's a pretty good one.
You buy a computer. Well, they're not necessarily the greatest. I mean,
I'm just saying.
They hire very.
That's a good example of it.
Yeah, but it's a good example also of what's wrong with technical support these days in the tech industry, because the people that they hire are at the beginning of their career. They're very junior, but they're going out and they're being tasked to resolve very senior problems in some cases. And they just don't get it, right? And they're not. And I mean, I can walk into a Best Buy and I'm not infrequently I'm able to completely lose the person I'm talking to about my problem. Not because I'm talking over their head, although I am, probably, but it's more the function of them, having worked a grand total of 0 years in technology, more than
That's probably all a ploy. It's a ploy by Best Buy, because it makes people think, oh, these guys are professionals. If they can't figure out, I must need a new computer.
Well, it may be a ploy in part, but what it's really doing is it's keeping the employee cost down to Best Buy. They're a retail office, right?
But you know what it also does? It does help out the employees as well. It gives them their first step into the industry.
It sure does, but that doesn't matter, because what Best Buy's doing. They don't pay those people very well, and then they bill them out at $300 an hour or something to go fix fix problems, and it's not funny and it's not fair. I've had people try that with me recently, and it pisses me off. In fact, I'm going to a job interview the day after tomorrow, where I'll be billed. If I get the job, I'll be paid $200 a day less than what fair market value for my skills is.
Yeah.
Right? And I've been around the block long enough, I've been doing this long enough that I can make that calculation. I know that this is what's happening. Most people who've worked a grand total of 0 years in the business, they have no idea what to ask for a salary. They think, as I did at the time when I first started out, they think working for anything above minimum wage is just, makes them pay shit. Yes, basically, they can afford their drugs, and they can go out and party their asses off, and life's good.
Hell, with minimum wage, I can still afford my drugs.
Well, most people, if you live at home. I don't know what you're paying for your drugs, but
I'm only smoking pot though, so.
Yeah, I mean, if you buy Coke, I mean, it's one of the more expensive flavors of the mountain.
I know.
It's gonna cost you more than 2 coins. So.
Yeah. Oh, I've done Coke before. I know how much it costs. I was in college once.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're going to have that as your habit of choice, then you need to be making better than minimum wage. But anyway, whatever the case is, you can actually go and party it up with like the big leaguers, the people who are very. There is that crowd of people. When you get into that crowd of people, and I've been with them, the crowd of people that actually does Coke on a regular basis, they're wealthy, they have disposable income. They don't know exactly where to put all of it, and they're investing in something that is, you know, puts them in the VIP lounge more often than not.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's pretty fucked up because these people are, the people like to think it's the coke that's making you all self-centered and arrogant. It's like, no, I think it's just arrogant people do coke because they're so goddamn wealthy to start with.
Yeah. They're just like, yeah, look at all this coke I can buy. I'm awesome. Motherfucker, I'm awesome. No, you're not. Don't lie. Motherfucker, I'm awesome. Quarter of my life gone by. Motherfucker, I'm awesome.
So, anyway.
Man.
But, yeah, they're getting taken advantage of, and I think that, you know, when you put these people in a business environment and they can't solve the problem, it shuts people off, right? They want Microsoft, they want someone who knows what they're doing to help them and resolve their issues, and they're not going to get the. I mean, they'll with networking. Best Buy doesn't do that, right? They're not going to lay out your network for you, but they might take a stab at trying to do software support. So they'll help you try to get your install base running with Office 365. But if you have someone who doesn't know exactly what they're doing and doesn't do it correctly, they'll fuck it up and they won't know how to fix it. And you know, and if it goes much beyond 10 workstations, forget it. You know, they're just not going to figure it out. So at that point, you have no choice. You have to call Microsoft to get it fixed in a hurry. That's my best guess of the situation. I mean, I'm oversimplifying it tremendously, but it's one scenario I'm sure that does happen from what I've seen. And not to denigrate Best Buy, there are some people who are very, very gifted that no doubt luck out and can figure out very complex problems very quickly despite their inexperience, and more power to them.
Yeah.
Those people should probably be paid more than, you know, $2 above minimum though.
Oh, Jesus. That's a dolphin. Or no, that's an orca.
Shoot
I
it!
just about ran into.
Shoot it. Shoot it again.
Shoot. I'm in a station.
So, shoot the station then, and then shoot it.
I don't have weapons.
I'll crash into the station again.
And I'm being ship scanned.
Well, you have no choice. You have to shoot it.
Well, tell you the truth, I don't have anything illegal on me right now. I'm at the place where I drop off the illegal stuff. I'm on my way back to pick up more illegal stuff.
By the station.
Oh, man. Oh, wait. I should probably set it to the actual station.
By the station, and then you can basically... Then you can run drugs out of your space station.
I'm not running... Oh, wait. Yeah, wait. Would you consider combat stabilizers drugs?
Depends if you're going to smoke them or not.
Well, I'm illegally smuggling it into a system. What do you think people are doing with these combat stabilizers?
No, it's probably not smoking them.
Yeah, well, I am also smuggling in a lot of battle weapons and some narcotics.
Oh, definitely smoking narcotics, and probably the battle weapons after they've done the narcotics.
They're smoking battle weapons?
After they've just smoked the narcotics, yes.
How are they going to smoke a weapon?
I don't know. Well, they use the weapon to smoke other people, and then they smoke the other people and the weapon.
Oh. You stick the weapon in the people and light up the people, and then smoke them both.
Something like
I get it now. I get it now.
Yes. It all makes perfect sense. Well,
yes. That's all you have to say. Like, no more explaining needed.
Well,
I finished all my rum off last night.
I was going to say, speaking of the Me Too movement and politically incorrect,
yeah.
Did you know that snowboarder
Scan detected.
from the United States that got into deep shit because he called he was accused of assaulting his girlfriend or being abusive to a girlfriend a couple of years ago, and he says, you know what, I'm not going to talk about that gossip. I'm just here to talk about my medal and and how I performed today, blah blah blah. And he just sounded like the biggest asinine son of a bitch you ever met.
Maybe he legitimately didn't do it, and he's upset about all these accusations.
Well, I don't know if he did it or not, but he settled out of court.
Well, yeah, maybe he was trying to hide the fact that this was even brought up, and he's got enough money where he can settle out of court, and it won't do anything to his bottom line. You're an Olympic athlete, you don't want
I think it's more likely he was guilty of something, and his legal counsel advised him, if you can convince her to settle out of court, then do so, because you're gonna save yourself money in the end. If she takes you to court, it won't even matter whether or not she wins. She'll still do enough financial damage. You're better off just settling out of court, regardless of whether or not you did it. And the other thing about lawyers people don't understand is if you admit to your lawyer you did something illegal, they're an officer. Yeah. They're an officer of the court. They have to they're technically duty bound to disclose to the court what you said to them.
Yeah.
If
killed that bitch.
If you confess to a crime, but if you don't, then of course they'll
defend you tooth and nail.
Well, yeah, because they have a client attorney privilege. But a lot of people think client attorney privilege just means they can't say anything that you said to them. It's like, well, yes, that's true, except in cases where you're threatening other people's lives, you confess to a crime, or there are some exceptions.
Yeah, there's always exceptions.
And you can't just say whatever the hell you want to your lawyer, but...
Just like, you can't tell your doctor, I've killed someone, and they will, oh shit, I forgot to request docking. And he's still obligated to tell. There's no patient-client privileges or whatever.
No, exactly. Yeah, you can't just be doing that. Although most lawyers, I will say this too, I'm pretty sure most lawyers will keep your confidence regardless and try to win the case for you and pretend
because they'll make more money.
And pretend like they didn't hear it. Well, partly, but also because it's an adversarial system, they may feel quite rightly that giving the crown that advantage is just too much. It imbalances the whole trial experience, or the justice experience, or the injustice experience, as the case may be. I'm so glad I didn't become a lawyer.
I think I would have made a decent lawyer.
Are you good at arguing?
Yeah, I'm good at arguing, and I'm good at convincing people shit.
I can convince people of shit. And I'm very good at arguing, but what I didn't like about it was the whole idea of being someone's bitch for like 2 to 5 years after I graduated. After spending like 12 years in pre-law and in law school.
Yeah.
And then, and now you have to article for like another 3 or 4 years, and then you have to work in the law office as a staff attorney. No, you can be a staff attorney, and then the whole goal of your career is to make partner. Once you've made partner, then you can start making.
Relax.
Well, no, you can't relax, but you can start making meaningful amounts of money. Before that, you're just making shit.
Yeah.
Which isn't very fair, because if you know the law, if you can navigate through the court system, it's not easy, especially if you don't know anything about it. Like, if you or I were just to start, let's go and defend ourselves. Okay, well, first of all, it's about, 60 books worth of literature that you'd have to, like the back of your hand to start with.
Yeah.
Germane just to your province. God help you if you have to go, like, defend yourself in more than one province, because then it quite frequently will change and increase the amount of literature you have to actually review. Depending on the type of case you're fighting. If it's a criminal affair or a federal case, then but I don't see you or I getting into constitutional law and arguing briefs before the Supreme Court of Canada.
You know what I think would be, like, I don't think I could be a lawyer for one other reason. I couldn't live with the fact that I might be putting an innocent person behind bars, or that I might be letting a criminal go free.
Well,
Like, that would bother me.
technically, you wouldn't be putting them behind bars. It would be A, either the system, or B, it would be the determination of a judge or justice.
Oh, what if I'm
your
a
job,
defense lawyer?
your job as a lawyer, as an attorney, is to present the best possible case for your client in an adversarial system. Driven to your job is to furnish the case from the perspective of your client with the best arguments you can.
What if my client is the crown? What if I'm part of the crown?
Then you have to argue the best possible case you can in favor of the state, the interest of the state.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that person is basically trying to make them choose to put this person behind bars, and the other side of it is trying
but you're not there to determine,
get this person free.
Yeah, I understand, but you're not there to determine guilt or innocence. You're there to argue.
I know, but that's the thing. My conscience would determine, and well, not determine, but would weigh on me, like, well, did I put the innocent person, or did I convince him to put an innocent person behind bars? Like, maybe he really didn't do it. How do I know for sure?
Well, if you find out that the person that you've helped put behind bars are innocent, you are duty bound to bring that evidence to the court.
I know.
So
I would totally do that too. Like, that's not the question.
It's not up to you. It's never up to you. It's up to the court to decide. Like, it's a committee type thing. Like, where you are a participant in a process that actually involves possibly dozens or even hundreds, depending on the case, hundreds of people that are responsible for putting this person behind bars. And if you have argued, if you feel at the end of it you've argued the wrong side, again, because it's not up to you, you are supposed to bring your evidence to the attention of the court as an officer of the court, and you are then obliged to accept whatever ruling follows, because you're simply not the decision maker. The judge is the decision maker. The crown is the minister of defense, could be, or not minister of defense, the solicitor general could be, or whoever. And that's the end of it. It's not up to you. It's up to a body of people that determine the guilt or innocence of an individual. If it were up to an individual to determine whether or not someone should lose their freedom, we would call that a tyranny. And
you know what I think I could have done well, though? Small claims court judge.
Yeah, well, then you know what you have to do to become one of those? You have to go into
a TV station.
No, you have to go into municipal provincial politics and suck cock or get rammed up the ass long enough to actually get appointed. And once you're appointed, you're fine. Usually, only partners of law firms get appointed, and those who donate lots of money and suck the cock of the appropriate politician.
Hey, you want to get your dick sucked? What are you looking for?
Sometimes I'm sure.
Definition.
Sometimes I'm sure it's literal, and other times I'm sure it's figurative. But one way or the other,
I know.
one way or the other, someone's dick is definitely getting sucked.
Figuratively or literally.
There is fellatio involved.
Fellatio. I just love that term. It sounds so weird. It sounds so technical, which makes it sound weird.
It is rather clinical.
There's a technical name for
it's
giving a blowjob.
It's very clinical sort of ring to it.
Yeah, it's like you go to the hospital. So what happened here? Well, I was giving fellatio and... What?
You've been diagnosed with terminal fellatio. Oh my god!
Fallaciocytis. From too much fellatio. Oh, Jesus. Let's sell some battle weapons and make some money.
That's terribly unfortunate.
Pretty much.
How terrible for you.
Oh, look, I'm back up to almost a million credits. How much is my ship worth?
Guess how many? I have 16 million credits.
Yeah, remember I went down to 2,000. I went down to 2,000 motherfucking credits. And now I'm back up. I got like 2 million in assets right now.
Yeah, that sounds very clinical to me.
Holy shit. Let's see what my assets are. Let's check out my ass. Alright, where's my ass?
Very asinine.
I am an ass.
Hey, come over here.
Ooh, 250,000 in fines I paid.
Min Chung.
Min Jin. Well, there you go.
Min Chung. It's the Min Chung system.
Current assets, 2,800,000. Credits spent on ships, 82 million.
For some reason,
and I only have 2 million right now.
Yeah, for some reason there's a repeat phenomenon of collision with starbase walls.
Yeah, well, yeah, like, is that not like a stat as well? Smashing into starbase?
It goes with a rating of incompetence or corpse.
Yeah.
Or both. Yeah.
Man, I'm really good friends with these guys. They must have some good missions for me. Like, I'm up to friendly with these people just by smuggling in weapons.
Yes, well, there's something very clinical about all that.
Why is this person got no missions?
I don't know.
Anyone in, like, a Civil War or upcoming Civil War?
Why am I for some reason we're just sitting here waiting for the number to go down. It's like, oh, it's 13.8 light years. Why is it stuck there? Oh, because it's not light seconds, it's light years.
Yes, I've done this before too, just keep flying.
And the computer is projecting it will take 70 days to get there, which is another problem.
I'm going to Thada. Thada. I got a Federal Navy courier mission for there. So here goes my Fed rank.
You have been inserted and launched from a catapult.
Oh, Jesus! Why are there so many belugas around when I'm flying? Every time I'm entering or exiting a station, it seems like a beluga is doing the same, or opposite at the same time.
You have acquired a new status as a celebrity, and therefore are being chased around by paparazzi.
And belugas.
In belugas, yes.
Should I be playing that song by, what's her face? Lady Gaga? Paparazzi. I'm gonna be the next Princess Diana. I'm gonna be going through the fucking starport opening, and then they're gonna crash into me, and I'm die. Too soon? Is that too soon still?
It wasn't soon enough.
It wasn't soon enough.
Get rid of her.
Like, is there any rules about, like, royal deaths where you have to, like, not talk about them for X amount of time?
No, they're handed money from birth and walk the destination. No, I want you to...
I couldn't imagine being a royal. I wouldn't want to be.
Well, actually, the royals themselves have started saying pretty much the same thing. A few times Ed has come out and sort of said, I saw a picture of him running through a hotel room naked after some girls. Like, what the hell? Like, his bare ass is hanging out like while he's running like across the living room of this hotel room. And I'm like, okay, Prince Harry. My brother actually met him once, if you can believe it.
Yeah.
He was visiting Calgary. And he was doing a ski trip or something, which, you know, for a Londoner, you have to think is kind of interesting. But anyway,
he's always been the party boy of them.
Yeah, well, he was the party boy, but he, you know,
like there was a point where the Queen was ashamed of him.
Well, he was running around naked through hotel rooms, chasing girls, and probably doing ecstasy. I can only imagine that he's sort of like. Yeah, the black sheep of the royal family. Whereas, you know, William never got into that stuff, eh?
No, he was always the good child.
You
That's
never
why
heard.
he's gonna
You
become
never
king
heard.
someday.
You never heard about him doing drugs or doing, you know, being naked and running through hotels or any. He
was probably playing polo or something.
With all his boyfriends.
Water polo and horse polo.
Yes.
Oh man.
Although of the two of them, if one was gay, I'd have to say it would most likely be Eddie.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why I say that. It's just that Ed looks a little bit more fruity, I guess, than William, but to my eye.
Harry's moving to the U.S.
Is he?
Yeah, he's marrying an American.
No, she's moving to London, I was told.
I heard they were thinking about moving to the U.S.
Oh, can you imagine? Holy shit. It'd be between the fucking Windsors and the Kennedys then.
Are there any of those guys left?
The Kennedys? Oh yeah, the grandson is still alive and kicking.
Oh, don't get on any planes.
Well, he can get on a plane, he just can't fly one.
Again, too soon? Oh, fuck.
Well, they're talking about
the most unlucky public family in the world.
They are very unlucky. Well, of course.
Like, I'm sure there's other families just as unlucky, but not in.
What is
like,
it with Irish families always ending up like, just, I don't know, all fucking cursed like that? Yeah, like famous Irish families, like the book of, you know, uncursed Irish families. You know, very, very short piece of literature.
Because the English probably put a curse on them back in like the medieval times.
It's like right next to acts of Nazi kindness.
Oh man. Fuck off, ship. Just listen to me.
An index
I don't even know what
of
my
charitable Nazis.
Oh man, you want to hear something funny about charitable? Some kid from the college came into the store the one day and was like, I was just wondering if you guys would like to donate some money to the muscular dystrophy something or other through Lambton College. I'm like
to? No.
I'm like, you know what? I'll hand that off to the manager so he can forward it on to the owner. And then went through it with him today, and I'm like, you know, I only took this as a joke. No way in hell that cheap bastard's gonna donate money to no charity. He didn't even give us a Christmas bonus. Like, not even a fucking card. Like, at least send me a card saying, hey, great work. Keep it up in the future. Merry Christmas. You know, like that. Motherfucker.
It's amazing how...
I bring this up all the time, too. Like, I'm not shy about bringing that up.
No, I know, but it's amazing how the littlest things can just, you know, can placate people and make them not want to...
I don't care that much. It's just...
No, but
funny.
I mean, it's like one of the deciding factors between do I shoot him or do I just quit?
So what's after midshipman? And can I get anything special with midshipman?
Midshipman, I think warrant. Wait a second, warrant officer maybe.
Okay, I'm 83% through midshipman.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I must have been to midshipman because I'm ahead of you in the rankings, I'm pretty sure, but...
Yeah, I think you are too. Well, what are you? I can tell you if I've been it or not. If I haven't, then you're ahead of me.
I'm warrant officer, but I know that before
I've never been a warrant officer.
Yeah. Before that, there's chief, there's petty officer, chief petty officer, grunt, you know, so I don't know, there's like a list of...
I'm going into the Federation rank wiki.
No, midshipman,
petty officer.
Midshipman is an officer rank, so it starts off with ensign.
I get federal dropship. So midshipman, petty officer, chief petty officer, warrant officer, ensign, lieutenant, lieutenant commander, post captain, rear admiral, vice admiral, and then admiral.
Post captain?
Yeah.
Do you know that
you just skip captain?
Do you know that in Canada we have the same ranking system as the Romulans in Star Trek?
Maybe the Romulans stole it from us.
I don't fucking know, but we have...
Fuck them Romulans.
We have here's our Air Force rankings. Sorry, our Navy rankings. So you go from ensign to second lieutenant to lieutenant, and then you are a sub-commander, commander, followed by captain, vice admiral, and then admiral, I think. And it's pretty close to the way the Romulan system works, except I think at the vice admiral level there's like 3 flavors of admiral, each with different duties. But anyway, bottom line is that there's a sub-commander in there, and the Americans don't have one. And the NATO, have you ever seen a chart of the NATO ranking system?
Oh, probably. It's not like it's something I search up on a weekly basis, though.
No. Hang on here.
I could probably just Google it right now on my phone. See it.
Request officer, please. Yeah, so it ends up being that they have OC, like officer, OC or OR, and it's basically officer rank. So you have NC, non-commissioned officers, so NRs, and then you have officer ranks, ORs. And it's like captain is OR4, OR5 is, you know, vice admiral, OR6 is admiral, OR7 is viceroy, and then there can be an OR8, which would be supreme allied commander. And right now there isn't one because that rank only exists when there's a war that affects the entire alliance. So someone like MacArthur, or General Patton of the United States, they were 5-star generals, and the only way you can get a 5th star is you have to be OR8. And in Canada, it's above. The 3 ranks above general, above viceroy are, I think it's supreme Supreme Commander or Supreme Allied General or something like that.
Supreme Overlord.
There's never been one from Canada, but if a Canadian were appointed by the Alliance to take on that role, there has to be a rank in existence to accommodate it. So.
Oh shit! I think I'm killing the system. Oh my god! I'm killing the system.
In Canada, you don't get stars, you get leaves.
Yeah.
Maple leaves instead of stars. So we have 4 leaf generals, but I'm sure to an American it sounds perfectly gimpy. You have leaves.
Yeah, but they're cool looking leaves, and they're like gold and shit.
And unlike some people's soldiers.
I need to bring basic. Oh my god, where am I?
Unlike some nation soldiers, our soldiers actually win the war games every time that we fight the Americans. Somehow.
So by some nation you mean the Americans?
I could. That's one possibility. Yes.
Well, you pretty much just outright said it, so you know.
I did not say it outright.
Just saying though.
I intimated it pretty deeply, and with intent, and without much room for any other possibility. Okay, have you noticed this bug in the game where there's like this little wee ass Achilles starport, and it's like floating around in your radar?
No,
yeah,
I've never had that actually. Oh my god!
It's like
I just hit a
it's sitting here going around and around, consistent with the turning, like the rotation of the starport. Except this thing's going around and around, like it's tidally locked to something in a berry center.
Well, they are spinning all the time.
Yeah, but they're not orbiting around some vacant berry center in the middle of your scope.
They could be. Did you ask them if they were?
It's making me dizzy. I have to stop looking at it.
Select something else. Go into contacts and just click on
something. I can play with the nav beacon, except then it'll start rotating around.
Well, pick a player. Or an NPC.
Oh my god, they're all doing it.
You know what? I realized something today. Not today, recently. I've always thought of other people as like NPCs in games.
I did that 5 minutes ago. For no reason. What? Never mind.
You thought about that 5 minutes ago?
No, I didn't. I'm just making that up.
But yeah, like I was thinking about it, I'm like, never really thought of it. Like,
I didn't think about it.
People are just like me. Like everyone is pretty much like they all are the same. Like we all have the same functions go on inside of us to a point. But like it's just blew my mind when I thought about it. I was like, man. Like these people who are like high-level politicians or CEOs of companies, yes. I had pretty much same advantages every single one of them, but you know.
No.
You don't know my upbringing.
Why? Were you independently wealthy?
I wouldn't say wealthy, but we were fine.
So were we. My family was teachers, and my
parents were both accountants, and my dad was director of finance for Maple Leaf Foods.
Yeah, my father wasn't director of anything, but but I mean, you know, I didn't live uncomfortably by any stretch. That being said, and although I had money from my grandparents too. Like when I went to private school in Winnipeg, I was financed by my grandparents. So really, I went from one set of incomes to a completely different set of incomes that accrued over an entire lifetime.
Yeah.
But whatever the case may be, I was not not hunkering for money, but I didn't. I mean, they didn't lavish me in money, regardless of however much money they had. They kept their money.
Exactly.
They bought me what I needed.
And anything that I wanted, it's not like, okay, here, just have it. It's like, well, you gotta earn it. You don't just get stuff given to you.
No, and as long as that's the case, I mean, you're pretty much given the same opportunities as other people. It's just that there's a guarantor there that prevents you from being, you know, completely shafted and sent out of some airlock somewhere. But,
you really want to just shove someone out an airlock, don't you?
I don't know. I think that being well off, I keep thinking of Donald Trump. Like, there's someone who his family had so much money, they literally did not know what to do with all of it. And they, unlike you and I, Donald would probably have been lavished in things that he didn't need. There are such people. My friend Garrett, who now lives in, like, his father's the director. He lives in Ottawa. It's a political city, right? And his father is a political appointee for a foundation that is heavily financed by the government of Canada. And, you know, since he's the director, and has been for like at least 300 or 400 years, he's basically extremely wealthy. His fucking family had a pool, for Christ's sake, which I like was having sex in at one point and doing ecstasy and like all sorts of other things I shouldn't have been. And if that was his life, where he was doing this like not every weekend, because I was there for some of the weekends in question, but if I was there, you know, for some of these weekends, this is like a kid who I knew from the time he was about 17.
Yeah.
And he was one of the people, actually, that, one of the reasons I had, like, there's people at his party that I had sex with when they were younger. Probably a little bit too young for me. But it reminded me, it made me think, like, you know, this person has a lot of money and is just being, you know, he's obviously oversexed, overfinanced, and overdrugged. And how the hell did he get to this point? Well, it starts off, you know, and then what is he turned into? Well, he's giving someone that young that much money, that much drugs, and that much sex has an impact.
Yes.
Right? Like, at some point, you're gonna, like, he's fine now, but for a number of years in his life, he was definitely, I would say, he was living the Vita Loca and not taking life very seriously, and thought that pretty much everything ought to be handed. You know, he expected things to be handed to him. Not that he felt that it ought to be, but just things would be. And for the most part, he was actually quite correct. But then he was in for a hell of a shock when he found out that, gee, no, that's not true. I can't finance all these drugs by myself, working on my own. Once he was cut off. You know, like, there is a point at which your family goes, look, something has to stop you, because you're
not a kid anymore.
You're not a kid anymore, and B, even if you could afford to do this for the rest of your life, you're not really living life. More than that, you're going to kill yourself. So we're going to put a stop to this now.
Yeah.
And, you know, boy, is that ever a hell of a shock when that day comes, right? It's like, Jesus Christ, you know, all these things I had lavished into my life before are not there anymore, and now I've got to do it all by myself. And I've only got government supports to help me with it.
Yeah.
Which is never enough. That's for sure. It could be enough if people were, like, had the semblance of compassion about them, but they don't, so...
90% of people don't, no.
So the result is you end up having to figure it out for yourself and do it all by yourself, pretty much. But Trump, I don't think ever had to, you know, there are people that get away with it and never have to worry about it, and Trump is one of those people, and I think that there are, not the drugs part, he's very anti-drugs, but...
Yeah.
But there's other aspects to his life, women in particular, where that isn't true. How do you know?
Yeah.
Just look at his life. And look at his life. Yes, he's president of the United States, but he's virtually despised by everyone who knows him. You know, there's a bunch.
He did one of the things that would be probably considered one of the most honorable things to do as a president, and he still hated it as a president. He chose, since he is already so wealthy, not to take a paycheck. And that's a pretty honorable thing to do. It's not... It doesn't come across as greedy at all. It comes across as anti-greedy.
But actually,
still hate it.
but actually, he benefits from it nonetheless.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Right? He's not doing it because he's altruistic. He's doing it because there's political capital in doing so. And that is the only reason he's doing it. And anyone who thinks differently is either a Republican, lifelong Republican, or they're deluding themselves, or both. There's no other way to interpret that. People are just, even if I was president and was fairly wealthy and well-to-do, I would not accept not having a paycheck for a whole variety of reasons, having nothing to do with not worrying about whether or not there's going to be food on the table next week. There's more to it than that. It's about you feeling your work is valued, about feeling valued myself, and not having to worry about that aspect of my life, about whether or not I am valued and whether or not I am not achieving something. It's a part of feeling like you've achieved something coming from a middle-class background.
Yeah. I just realized how far away the system was with a full load of cargo. Literally 2 jumps. 2 jumps with no cargo. With cargo, it's about 10.
Well, I think that means you should flush all of your human cargo out the airlock.
I don't have any human cargo.
Yes, you do.
I have basic. Well, no, I'm not flushing myself out the airlock. I'm not cargo. I'm the pilot. There's a difference between pilot and cargo.
You're extraneous. You don't need to be part of the craft.
I don't have a docking computer. Yes, I need to be here.
Well, the docking computer isn't going to fly your ship for you.
No, but you can point it in the right direction and say, here, go from there.
And then crash into the wall, and you achieve exactly what you've achieved to that point anyway.
I've achieved that many times, yes. Pretty good at hitting the wall. You know what bothers me, though?
I keep having this vision of, like, your ship just, like, crashing into the side of the starboard over and over again.
Oh, man.
You were saying?
What did I realize? I don't even remember. Fuck, I don't care.
I had a job interview today.
And
I did well enough to get another one, so I guess maybe I'm one step closer to actually rejoining the world of the employed.
Welcome.
Yeah, except this one, she's like, oh, I'm not sure you're going to be able to work for this amount of money. And I'm like, well, what's the number? And she said 115,000 a year. And I was like, I don't think that's going to be a problem. You know, and I said, I'll be frank with you, when I worked for Microsoft, the most I've ever earned in my life was $106,000 per year.
Yeah.
But that is the only time I've pulled in 6 figures in my life.
So yeah, you'll take it this time as well.
I'll take it. She did offer it. She said, "Yeah, that's fine. You know, if you're good with that number, that's what we'll go. That's what we'll ask for." Is it my normal? And she says, "What do you ask for in terms of pay for your per diem?" And I said, "Well, I ask for $650 per diem, but per day. But
yeah,
that money has to go several different ways. It's not as simple as, oh, and you're earning $650 a day, which is roughly $200,000 a year. You don't get to keep it all. Out of that, you still
there's deductions.
There's deductions. You have to pay your benefits, any sick leave, You have to compensate yourself for the fact that you're likely unemployed for at least between 3 to 6 months a year on average. You have to compensate yourself for, bereavement. Any other kind of leave has to be paid for. So, like when you take all this shit, insurance and the rest of it, medical benefits of any kind, dental, which I haven't been using, unfortunately. My teeth are like falling out of my head.
I know that feeling.
So there's a lot of shit that has to be looked after, and it's just, and if you don't charge that amount of money, and the reason the teeth are falling out of my head is largely in part due to the fact I'm just not sure I'm going to have all this money later on. And if I use it on dental, then what's going to happen when I need that money for something more vital than teeth in my head, right?
That's why dental should be covered under OHIP.
That's what I think.
It's just as important.
It's as important
as anything else.
But no one treats it that way until they absolutely have to.
Yeah, like you could die from a tooth infection. If a tooth goes abscessed, it can enter your bloodstream and you can get an infection and die.
Yeah, exactly. But you don't think in these terms until you have the infection.
Yeah.
So,
well, I've never had the infection, but you know what? I've been damn close with my wisdom teeth.
Yeah, my wisdom teeth just fell out. They didn't really. They didn't do anything.
Well, I still have 2 of them left, and there's half of 2 of them because they've been crushed by the pressure of trying to force into my jaw, and broken in half, both of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they'll either just disappear out of your head, or they will, as you say, become infected, and either way they're going to disappear out of your head. But you don't want to.
It's funny. It's been like this probably for 5 or 6 years now.
Yeah, I was lucky. It was fairly brief in my case. Of course, I might have been all the crystal meth I was doing at the time.
That could have helped, yeah. Maybe I should go back and do some more crystal meth. That could help get rid of it quicker. There we go. I got the answer.
Yeah, so crystal meth is always the answer.
Oh, Jesus. You know what's funny? Whenever I did do meth, back when I did, I never paid for it once. People would offer me some for a cigarette.
Yeah, here, take it. Yeah, exactly. People would offer me people would offer me meth in exchange for things that I didn't need, like a stereo or a computer or... Oh, wait a second. That was me buying meth with using...
A stereo and a computer.
using the barter system. Yes.
Buy, sell, or trade.
No, I was never that into meth where I would do something like that, but...
Yeah. No, but literally, it'd be like, hey, you want a toke for a cigarette? It's like, sure.
Fucking tokes. I fucking hated meth because it made me feel like it was turning into a giant chunk of crystal. And I fucking hated being crystal. Plus, it actually interferes with an ecstasy high, so pretty good. So I was like, okay, well, if I didn't want
ecstasy.
Yeah, if I wanted to destroy my ecstasy high for some reason, which why the hell would you? But if you did, a great way to do that is to start doing tokes of meth out of someone's pipe, yeah. And then instead of feeling all friendly and happy, you feel like a giant chunk of crystal, and
you're like...
Yeah.
You know how much Mass Effect 3 I played online? I was God mode at that game.
Yeah, I'm sure you felt like it too.
Oh, I did. And Call of Duty, forget about it. Like, come on. Black Ops 2, I destroyed.
Well, you know why meth. You know what the history of meth is, right? You know why it was invented. It was
like a combat enhancer, wasn't it?
No, it was invented by the Nazis, believe it or not, back in the 40s to like keep their soldiers powered up and ready to fight.
So it was a combat enhancer.
It was a combat enhancement tool, so yeah, they would stay awake and want to fight some more after they started to wear down from being.
Yeah, they go a week without having to sleep.
Well, weeks more like, and they would just keep wanting to fight the Americans, fight the Allies. So yeah, so they just, they just kept feeding them more meth, and it's like, oh well, I guess I've been another toad gives the meth pipe, so may as well continue shooting this gun.
It feels good when I do.
Yes, somehow it makes me feel like I'm achieving something on behalf of the Reich. Not that that matters anymore, as long as I get my toe.
Alright, so let's see if it was worth the drive out here. Here we go, here comes the deciding moment. Oops. Wrong button.
The decision is not in your favor.
Oh yeah? Let's see. I shipped 112 units of basic medicine, 10 jumps, for 348,000 profit.
Uh-huh.
And I spent probably, I don't know, 2,000 on all of it.
That's good news.
And I sold it for like 347,000. That is a good place, good way to start making money again when you make like 3,000 a unit. But you can't have a large craft because it's one of those places that only have medium and small docking.
It's okay. You can make do with an adder or hauler.
Or like what I'm using, a Type 6.
Or that, yes.
I got 112 units of cargo space. I think I'm pretty good.
You know what? As a chunk of meth, I felt like I was reminded of that scenario where people end up hang gliding, and they end up getting sucked up into the sky by like some really gigantic updraft or wind or whatever.
Yeah.
And they end up going, thousands, tens of thousands of feet into the air. And then they're stuck up there, right? And what ends up happening to them, they turn into a giant chunk of ice. And then they fall back down to Earth as a chunk of ice.
That'd be kind of cool.
It ends their lives. And,
well, being frozen probably has ended your life, so...
Yeah.
But, I mean, from a third-person point of view, that could look kind of cool. Especially when they hit the ground again and they shatter.
Shatter into a million pieces, yeah.
That'd be kind of cool, especially when it melts. What would it be? Just like a bunch of slime melting everywhere?
Well, no, it'd be a bunch of ice that was stained red in color. And that would be it, pretty much.
Well, I'm sure the organs are not just red coloring. Like, you're going to have chunks of organ and chunks of other pieces. Like, you're not going to break into dust. You'll break into small pieces, but, like, there's going to be pieces that are bone. There's going to be pieces that are cartilage.
Yeah, but you're not going to be able to...
There's going to be organs.
You're not going to identify them as such. I mean, you're still, look like chunks of ice.
Well, yeah, but when they melt, they'll be different. One moment, my phone's ringing. I'll be back dans un moment. Like,
Actually, I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go have dinner because I haven't eaten anything all day. So I will let you go for now, and I'll be back on in about an hour after I've eaten something or some wine.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Bye.
Talk to you soon.